Implicit Bias on location, the Evangeline Area Council Scouting's Cigar Speakeasy. A big night, a big fundraiser. Louis Perrette, who is a legacy scouting dad, scoutmaster, the whole 9 yards. He's also the Lafayette Parish Clerk of Court. Louis, tell us a little bit about this event, how this happened, and why this event is special.
Well, first of all, Kavan, I want to say thank you, and thank you to Implicit Bias for having us. We're very much appreciative of it. You know, scouting has done so much for me and my family. I can't tell you enough what it's about. It's not about drop off your kid. It's about come have fun with your kid in the environment. And we get to be in the outdoors. It is about teaching the next generation of leadership. And that's what we need. We need those girls and those guys to step up and be the next generation of leaders for us. This is just a way a few scout dads came together and decided to raise money for the Boy Scouts. We do it in a unique and individual way in which we have a cigar and a bourbon dinner in which we donate the money to the Scouts. No, it isn't a really great thing for the Scouts to sponsor, but the dads sponsor, and we give the money to the Scouts because that's really what it's all about, is helping that next generation of leaders step up. And you learn so much in scouting. I am so proud to be the father of an Eagle Scout. Myself, Kavan, would be an Eagle if my troop had not fallen apart in the mid-'80s when all the economy went south. My scoutmaster lost his job, had to move out of town. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. And I said, my son, I want to be there for him. And the friends that he has made have been lifetime friends to this day. Learning about sailing, learning about safe handling of firearms, learning about first aid, learning about life. That's what scouting's all about, and we're just so glad to be here.
Scouting's really cool because it teaches that independence that unfortunately a lot of kids aren't learning today unless they have a parent who's willing to take them and do those things on their own. They get to do it in a group setting, and you guys have been perpetuating this through this event for almost a decade now.
9 years. We're so proud that the Scouts have still allowed us to do this. You know, it's one thing when we first got started, we had to talk them into allowing us to do this, to see that there is a market out there that want to support scouting, that has a love of bourbon, has a love of cigars, and we're just so glad to be here. I can't tell you the honor that I feel when I see a kid start out as a young kid and achieve that Eagle rank. You know, less than 4% of all scouts that enter scouting become an Eagle Scout. I can just tell you this, when an Eagle Scout applies for a job at my office, they move to the top of the list.
One of the things, as you talk about the leadership at the next level, growing up to be leaders, a lot of people who are at these events, you find, literally are community leaders. They are civic leaders. They're people in positions that are leading the community, much like yours as clerk of court. And right now, it's that time of year for you.
Absolutely. You know, in 10 days, we're going to have an election, and we want people to get out and vote. We anticipate about a 70% turnout. I would love to be wrong. I want 100% turnout because people have fought and died for that right to vote. And so it's distressing when you see people not participate. Not everybody can go to a school board meeting or a city council meeting, but they can certainly inform themselves, educate themselves, and participate in our representative democracy by voting. It's something that the genius of Mr. Madison and Mr. Jefferson and Mr. Franklin came up with, that 226 years later, we are still here as the United States of America, the longest representative democracy in the world. We want it to continue.
And it's not often, and it's funny that I'm going to say it this way, because it's not often that Louisiana gets to say, hey, we are best in the nation. This past week, we actually had 4 secretaries of state come out and say, we're not going to be able to count all our votes by the end of the day. So a couple things jumped out at me. Number one, in Louisiana, we're one of the few states where we have very little election irregularity. Now, not going to say that I'm sure there's shenanigans. I don't know where they are, but I'm sure. But Lafayette Parish, when you're talking 70% turnout and the ability for your office to process what they process in that amount of time is remarkable. And honestly, I know we'd love to see 100% turnout, but 70% turnout's kind of a high watermark in the United States.
Absolutely. It's great, but it's something that we don't do alone. Please don't give me the credit alone. The Registrar of Voters and the Secretary of State works very closely with the Clerk of Court office. We know how to run elections in Louisiana. We want fair, free, and open elections, above reproach, above questioning, and that's really what it involves in scouting, is teaching you how to be a good citizen and bring it to the next level. We want people to participate in our representative democracy. We wanted to vote. I can't thank you enough for bringing it up.
Last thing to bring up, this particular election, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of talk around it. Are you anticipating a high watermark for voter turnout?
I'm predicting 68% in Lafayette Parish.
Okay.
I'd love to be wrong. We had a 78% turnout one time about 35 years ago.
Okay.
But what we want is people to exercise your right as an American citizen. You know, you have that right to go into the booth and I say, we're the same color, we're the same size, we're the same income, we're male, female, everybody gets the same thing. One person, one vote. It's the great genius of the United States of America. It ties in so closely to scouting, and we want people to participate. Please get out and participate.
Please go vote. Doesn't matter who you're voting for. Exercise the right. That's your implicit bias.